my head here, but it was that when we lost at home to Hull KR, that was a real low point. That was like, there was people falling off tackles. The try that sealed the game for Hull KR was, we've literally got 3 men holding a man up over the line and Cuthbertson drops off the tackle and they score. So it was that, okay, we were out punching these people. We were playing teams from a low division who were still slightly semi-professional. Basically the victory against Salford was like, the rugby gods falling in our favour because Jackson Hastings was out and he'd literally been ripping people apart and ripped Leeds apart prior to the 8s. Yeah. So we got through with some luck.
Yeah, in half an hour he basically won a game, didn't he? So you were relieved with that one. Yeah. And maybe...
No, that's it.
Yeah, and maybe some of the bad luck you'd had before in narrow losses, you maybe got back in that game as well to get a narrow win. The season included 2 draws and 5 one-point defeats. There were 3 two-point wins also, so you did win some close games, that Salford game being one of them. But 2 draws and 5 one-point defeats, Leeds couldn't finish? Is that a huge story of the 2018 season?
Yes, absolutely. But I've listened to quite a few of these, Mark, and some of my respective associates across the SLP family have tried to bring it back to, let's talk about Hull FC and Castleford, where all they've done is bang on about injuries being a problem. They're not the only club who had £700,000 worth of salary cap sat in the stadium. Leeds might be one of those teams, but another one of those teams who had a lot of salary cap sat in the stadium were Wigan. And, nobody at Wigan's whinging about the cap.
Well, St Helens in 2014 and Wigan in 2000 and... which year did we win it last? 17?
18? 18?
16.
You won it this year? You won it this year? Oh, right,
before this year, 2016. And Saints in 2014. Those two sides were both ridiculously depleted by injuries, yet went on to find their best form in that adversity and won a title, whereas obviously some of these other teams haven't quite pulled through. Castleford did battle it really well. Hull FC kind of threw in the towel once it became not a problem. Leeds' problem with injuries, it's a fair one you make, was that they were almost all at the same position in a way. They were all your middle unit forwards. They were all your trench warriors.
Well, you might say that. I couldn't possibly comment because I don't think the injuries can be used as and Hall, but we were splitting hairs. But look, it's one of them where injuries are not. That's why we have big squads in rugby league. That's why you have 25, 30 men players. Wigan have got 5 wingers that are better than probably all of Leeds' wingers. It's not about blaming the injuries. It's about being able to cope with that and coming through it. And it doesn't matter how much cap you've got in the season, Cass not getting where they got or Hull capitulating at the end of the season. And, for the grace of God, if they'd have been in the bottom 4, God knows what would have happened. And Leeds, having middle unit forwards, not being able to, make the meters in the absence of others. They're not fundamental excuses and are just a symptomatic part of a season that hasn't gone and didn't go where it needed to be. And the fact that we got dominated week in, week out, going up the middle. And, we were architect of our own demise,
If you sum up then 2018 in sort of one quick word or short sentence then for the Leeds Rhinos, how would you do that?
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable. I was wondering if you would have used the word relieved or relief this stage of 2018, but no, that's a great way to.
Unacceptable.
That's a great way to sum up 2018 from a Leeds Rhinos fan perspective, I'm sure. So thanks for that, Rich.
Yep, my pleasure.
Right, to go through what's been going on this off-season, a busy off-season at Leeds Rhinos, is Yorkshire Post journalist Peter Smith. So welcome back to Super League Pod to talk about the Leeds Rhinos, Peter.
Hello, thanks, Neil.
No, it's the pleasure's ours. And there's been loads of going on with lots of departures and a few real high-profile incomings. So we'll list those first. The people going out of the door are Joel Moon, Ryan Hall, Jimmy Kindhorse, Brett Delaney, Mitch Garbett, who recently left to Hull KR, Jordan Thompson, and then there's a few of the younger players, Wiley, Hartley, Darley, Wiley, Barraclough, Chapman Smith. So if your name ends with like EY, it seems like you were shown the door.
yeah, it's not looking good for you, is it?
No.
To be fair, they're academy players who a couple of them actually would still have had a year left, but aren't likely to be offered deals. The others were overage for academy, and they've been released. None of them have made. But Bobby Whiteley, the young hooker, made a first-team appearance last season. The others have just played in the academy.
Right, fair enough. And loads of those guys seem to be finding deals in the Championship and League One anyway, so we might hear their names again in the future. They're
all talented players, and they will play somewhere. But Leeds have a policy of if they don't see somebody breaking into the first team or getting a contract, say in a year's time, that they will let them move on if there's an opportunity for them. A couple of the kids have gone to Featherstone, who've recruited quite heavily from Leeds.
Well, Leeds don't need a reserve team, do they? Because they've got Featherstone.
yeah, it's better for them to play first team in the Championship than academy at Leeds, obviously. Yeah,
definitely. Okay, the ins is the main focus. Obviously, Dom Crosby's been retained from the mid-season loan signing he made last year. The big names, though, all coming in from the NRL. A couple of them being given marquee deals. I'm not sure which two of the three, but it's Tui Lola here, Conrad Hurrell, and Trent Merrin. So, why is the change in strategy maybe at Leeds? Because it's been about a decade since we've seen big name players come in from down under. So what's the change in strategy about, and what's the hope for these players going forward?
It is a decade. You'd say the two marquee players are Merrin and Hurrell, although Hurrell didn't seem to know who he was when I spoke to him last week. But they're the highest profile signings Leeds have made since Danny Badeiras 10 years ago. It's interesting, the change of policy. I think what Leeds have looked to do over the very successful period they've been through over the last sort of 14, 15 years has been to promote youth mainly, with occasional signings to back that up.
Right.
And that policy has been very successful, but it's run its course. It's quite clear from what happened last year that the squad wasn't good enough. And change was needed. I also think fans at clubs like Leeds expect to see big name signings. Leeds have got 2 new stands they're going to need to fill next year, and there was a feeling among the fans that the club weren't being ambitious enough, and they've addressed that. Kevin Sinfield came in July this year as director of rugby, and his remit really was to review what was going on and to make recommendations, and his recommendations obviously been to revamp the squad and to make some key signings in key areas, and they've done that, and I think the recruitment has been very good.
Yeah, it's hugely impressive. I guess you've had the opportunity to catch up with some of the new guys coming in, so what sort of motivation have they explained to you about them coming over to Leeds?
Well, the interesting thing about them is they're all under 30, and they've all got a point to prove. I mean, Tuilola here had a difficult year with Wests last year, but he was very highly thought of earlier in his career. I think he's only 23.
Yeah, he's young.
And he wants to make a name for himself and to play his style of running rugby, and I think he sees Leeds as the club he can do that. I've not spoken to Merrin, but he's achieved everything he can achieve in the NRL, and this is a new challenge for him, obviously. And Conrad Hurrell is I spoke to him the other day, and he's very keen. I think he's excited that Leeds have looked to bring him in. He's looking forward to working with the new coach Dave Furnett and with a couple of mates of his who play for Leeds. Nathaniel Peter, who's a very good friend of Hall,
right.
and he thinks that Super League will suit his attacking style of rugby. So I think they've come for the right reasons. These aren't over the hill old Australians or Kiwis who are coming for a payday. They're all players who could still reach the peak. I mean, at 29, Trent Merrin, as I say, he's done everything there is to do, but props tend to reach the best years at 29, 30, don't they? So he could have the best of his career at Leeds, potential, if the 3-year deal works out. They've also signed Callum McClelland, a young standoff who was at Castleford, went a year ago to Scottish Rugby Union, didn't work out. He missed Rugby League and he missed his home in Yorkshire, and he's come back and he's very keen to prove what he can do and to put some pressure on Leeds' halves.
Yeah, and he's been quickly put into the England academy side, hasn't he? So his potential's there.
He played for Yorkshire against the Aussie schoolboys and showed some nice touches, considering it's his first game of Rugby League for over a year. And he's only 18. He's not going to start the year as first choice, I don't think, but he'll be putting pressure on Lola here and Myler in the halves. So, and Leeds have signed some attacking players as well. I think the style of rugby they've been playing the last couple of years wasn't particularly exciting. I think they will play an attacking style this year, and the signings reflect that.
And this year they'll be playing that, hopefully, attacking style under the new coach. So what's been the early word coming out of the new coaching setup, their objectives, what style they intend to play in 2019?
Well, they've not said too much about that. I think they're trying to keep expectations in check, really. but Dave Ferner has said that he wants to play a good style, an attacking style of rugby. That's what he was known for when he was at Souths. The thing about Ferner is he played for Leeds in 2003 and 2004. He knows the club. Obviously, a lot of it's changed since then. But he played alongside Kevin Sinfield. He knows Gary Hetherington pretty well. He knows what he's coming into. He's brought a fresh approach. They've reshuffled the backroom staff. There have been some other changes as well. And the players, I've spoken to quite a few of the players since pre-season started, and they're all very enthusiastic about the fresh start. Brian McDermott did an outstanding job at Leeds, the most successful coach in their history, Super League's most successful coach. But after 8 years, I think a change was needed, and I think Ferner is the right man. And another thing about him is certainly when he played at Leeds, he was very encouraging of the young kids that were around at the time. The likes of Richard Mathers, Danny Maguire, Rob Burrow. He encouraged them hugely. He helped in their careers. If you speak to them, they'll all admit that. And Leeds do have some talented kids waiting in the wings, and I think Ferner will be prepared to give them a go, and I think he'll be good for them as well. So, all in all, I think it's an exciting and forward-thinking appointment by Leeds.
Yeah, some of the players who might be looking forward to that fresh start, some of the players you've spoken to, I know, is a load of people who want to take Ryan Hall's wing spot. So, who do you think's the favourite to start the season there? Who are the candidates?
Good question. Yeah, I think if they could sign a winger, I think that they might do that. But they do have plenty of options for the wing. It looks like Ash Hanley's probably going to be the starting winger because he was given the number 5 shirt. But there's also Ash Golding and Luke Briscoe and young Harry Newman, as well as put his hand up to play on the left wing. So they do have a lot of competition there from young, highly rated players. Handley's played a lot of Super League. Did very well in the centre last year, but he's a very good finisher. Luke Briscoe couldn't stop scoring when he played for Featherstone last year and scored a try every other game when he came for Leeds. Ash Golding, again, has a lot of experience in Super League now at a young age. I think he's 22. And young Harry Newman is going to be somebody very special in the next few years. I think he's probably more likely to be a centre, but he's not going to be the starting centre with Watkins and Powell in the club, is he? So he might have to play some. I imagine he'll probably play for quite a lot for Featherstone again next year, but I think he will play some first team. It could well be on the wing, but he's going to be a very, very good player in the future in 2 or 3 years' time. So I think Leeds have lacked options or quality options in the squad for the last couple of years, and they've started to address that.
Yeah, definitely. If I'm right, Newman was the youngest player to play in Super League when he made his debut against Wigan a couple of years ago, and he looked impressive even then.
I don't know if he was the youngest player to play in Super League, but he was the first player born this century.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah, he played against Wigan in
2016, 2017.